It's the boys.
Hello.
Hello, it's Nathan.
I'm Joseph.
And this is Cinema Transmission. And
Yeah!
Woo! Yay!
Here we are, everybody.
Yeah, you know the
I
slide
know you
whistle by
missed
now.
us.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get enough of us. You probably clicked on the last episode, not like literally just right before this one.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know what you people do. What
your free time.
What your podcast listening habits are.
Well, welcome to the podcast with all the sound effects, like the slide whistle.
That's the only one we have.
That's all we got
for now.
For now.
Dun
dun dun. That's just me saying it.
Are you going to be getting an air horn soon?
Yeah. So. Since this will be on the channel, I guess I might as well explain I'm getting an air horn soon. I have decided to start something on my channel with my buddy Chris, who has been on the channel before. But we're going to be doing some drunk time buyings of things, and I think an air horn might be involved.
Wow.
So I won't give too many details away, but I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Everyone listening should be scared because you never know. One of these days we'll just blow an air horn into the microphone and ruin everyone's hearing.
Which is kind of, I feel like that actually actively changes their life. So
yeah, it's going to be pretty funny for us.
It's going to be funny for us, and you'll remember who did this to you.
Yeah, who made you go down.
And you can give this to your enemies too, because you're like, why would you want to listen to this podcast?
Yeah.
But then
it's all just an elaborate prank.
The whole thing is a prank, and we want you to just lose your hearing.
So thank you to you.
Thank you
for listening.
Well, that's been the Cinema Transmission. No.
The end, everybody.
That's it. Joey, we watched something last week after we recorded this.
Yeah, on Valentine's Day, you and I
had our Galentine's Day.
Yeah.
A little date.
We sure did.
We went to the IMAX here in town.
Yeah.
We saw the newest Robert Rodriguez movie.
Alita.
Battle Angel.
Battle Angle.
This movie was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I kind of think it rules a lot.
Yeah. You might actually disagree with me on this point that I'm about to mention, but
shoot your shot.
Oh, okay. So what I'm going to say is, it reminded me of, and I say this in a very nice way, a better version of Ready Player One.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
it's very similar.
It's a lot better than Ready Player One.
Sure. But both movies felt very similar in tone. If that is
okay.
That's just how I felt about it. But yes, a much better film.
Yeah.
And a little bit more original.
Yeah, it made me happier. I mean, Ready Player One just made me miserable. So
sure.
And this movie made me happy. So I mean, that's all you need to know.
That's all you gotta know about the movie. It's good. It's a good movie. It's a good 2.5 hours.
It is pretty long.
Yeah, it's a little longer than I wanted it to be, but
and it is kind of structured as like an opening chapter to a franchise.
It's 2 hours and 2 minutes.
It's a franchise that I don't think will happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it was I think it was a 170 budget.
But something I was reading that I don't think we should discount is that the Asian audiences will probably eat this up.
Okay, yeah.
And will make up all the money.
I don't think it's even opened overseas.
It hasn't, but China will definitely eat it up. Yeah. Because, I mean, that they notoriously like kind of bigger blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
Just in general, and they give a lot of money to that.
Yeah. It's a big reason why a lot of things have been successful that, like, if you just look at domestic numbers, they may not have done that great here, but overseas, like, they would do huge. Like, I remember Skyscraper last year was kind of
movie,
it was kind of a bomb in the U.S., but overseas it did really well, and it was a hit when you look at the worldwide numbers. But
just don't know what the world's what we gotta love. But
I don't know. Well, I mean, hopefully they make another one.
That'd be cool, yeah.
I'd be excited.
Although I didn't, the last 20 minutes, I will say, I'm not giving anything away, but it did feel a little rushed and a little okay, this is how this ends. Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. It's weirdly paced because, like I said, it's just all kind of built up to be just the first chapter in something ongoing.
How do you feel about that kind of stuff?
Usually it doesn't work for me, but I believe that there's enough in the movie to make it more than just that. Like, there's enough sequences in there to make it worthwhile on its own.
Sure, definitely. I'm thinking like, speaking of movies kind of like that, like, obviously one of the most obvious examples, like Lord of the Rings, where I think each of the films literally can hold themselves, like, without really,
Yeah.
Doing anything else, but because they have so many great scenes with it, and then, like, the movie's about to end, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I guess this is just, part one.
Yeah.
Like, but like it felt more natural, I suppose.
Yeah.
This one
Yeah.
kind of felt a little shoved, put together, clunky.
Sure. Yeah. Which is
Robot.
funny because almost another thing that I really loved the way that this movie's world was realized.
Yeah.
I like how in the background just about every single extra that you can see has like some sort of like a robot
Cybernetic
arm.
enhancement.
Yeah. Like it's just a world of cyborgs running around, and it's really cool.
And humans with just automail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely like
I think that's really fun.
yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I really liked the cast in here too. Rosa Salazar plays Alita, as the main character, who I think does fantastic.
Yeah, she's just
very
really good.
likable.
Yeah.
Very, very likable.
For sure.
I think she's like, getting back to the Ready Player One thing, very opposite of how I felt for the main character.
Yeah.
Where it's like I didn't really care so much for that guy. Where I do, I cared a lot about Alita and what she was going through.
Yeah.
And then you have Christoph Waltz, kind of playing her father figure, who kind of found her in the junkyard at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Who I thought was pretty great and comical as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like an overprotective sort of father figure who, through most of the movie, is running around with a giant axe.
Oh yeah,
So that's pretty.
Little axe with a little pointy end.
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful. It's a good image, just seeing this little Christoph Waltz running around with this comically large weapon.
You're just like,
He's just like
what?
a dad in a trench coat.
he's a nice doctor.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm helping everybody out, but also this.
I got a big axe.
I like it. Well, yeah. There's several parts where it's just really comical.
Yeah, for sure.
But like Jennifer Connelly's in this movie, and so is Mahershala Ali, who I thought they were both good.
Yeah.
And then the main love interest is Keenan Johnson, which I feel like I've seen him before in something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. What was he done? He's done, it looks like, really interesting teen dramas. Spooksville and Heritage Falls. Wow, no thanks. But it looks like Alita is the first thing he's done that's actually...
Spooksville? I'd live there.
That's scary. Is that a slide whistle moment?
I don't know. It's up to you.
It was
a soft whistle.
It's a soft whistle. But, anything else to say about Battle Angel? I thought it was a really fun movie.
It was a wild ride, and it's also kind of a rare one that I would recommend going all out on. Like, see it in IMAX and see it in 3D, because it's actually like a really visually interesting experience.
Yeah, and it was very violent for a PG-13 film.
Oh yeah,
too.
for sure. The action's really cool. It's really well done, I think. Yeah, it's well put together.
You know that from Robert Rodriguez though too. He does make some things that are visually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But usually,
even though this is a Robert Rodriguez film, I usually am not a big fan of his stuff. But this one sort of feels like him, but it feels different. Also,
feels a little James Cameron-ish too.
Right,
mixed with him.
That makes sense because he was a producer. Right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely more James Cameron than it is Robert Rodriguez,
The violence is Rodriguez.
Yeah,
but the visuals are Cameron.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, recommend it. Definitely see it in theaters, big screen, IMAX if you can.
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
There's also a scene where there's like a battle on the moon, which is nuts.
Pretty dope. Yeah, I mean it's only a brief scene, but it's
I know,
crazy.
but it's there and it's unexpected.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see where this goes and see where it leads.
Yeah.
Any other things we saw recently?
You want to talk about Cold War?
Yeah, I want to talk to Cold War about it a little bit.
Okay.
So I know Joey saw this last night, and I think I saw it a couple nights ago on Tuesday. Yeah, whenever I saw it. But we both saw this movie kind of going in because the trailer is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've seen Ida. I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But Paweł Pawlowski, am I saying that right? Pawlowski? Polish guy.
Close enough.
Close. What is it?
Paweł Pawlikowski?
Okay. Well, time to kill myself. Here we go.
Here we go. Just 10 minutes into episode 4. That's where we end it.
Life. But anyway, Cold War. It's a black and white film it's the Polish entry to the Oscars, but
yeah, it got quite a few nominations.
Yeah, it got original screenplay.
Yeah, original screenplay, director,
and
cinematography.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it's a beautiful film. It's really brief. It's only about 80-something minutes.
Yep.
I liked it a lot, but I didn't love it as much as...
Yeah, as did I. It's obviously like a extremely well-made film.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful looking. It's really well acted. It's just a really well made on a technical level for sure.
It had some elements of Tarkovsky that I saw in it, like really, especially certain scenes specifically.
Yeah,
reminded me really greatly of Andrei Rublev.
Okay, yeah, but the thing that just kind of kept me at a distance from it though is the fact that while it's obviously, well, I don't know if obviously is the right word to use, but it's definitely intentional to make to put a long span of time condensed into a really short film.
Yeah.
This movie's only about like 80 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. And it covers a whole like decade and a half.
Yeah. It's an expansive love story, I guess you could say, or a story about these two characters and their sort of different stages in their relationship. And
there seems like there's an element of and now I'm thinking about it, of kind of fantastical element to it. When I say that, I mean like most people, after they spend 3 or 4 years after having not seen each other for a while, act a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously there's people like that out there, but it felt a little too, because like you said, it was really short and kind of short and sweet, but bitter at the same time. But
yeah,
it did feel a little bit like I wanted some stuff fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah,
if that
exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah,
and I wanted the relationships to get a little bit more room to breathe and kind of develop.
Yeah, it feels like it has a lot that it wants to do, but it doesn't have very much time, or it doesn't let things breathe, or it doesn't expand on certain things to make it really, at least for me, I was unable to connect with it for that reason.
Yeah, that is probably the right way to put it, in the connection part to it. Which
it definitely has its moments, but overall it just didn't give me that. It didn't hit me really hard at all, like I was hoping it would.
Yeah, but I mean, besides that kind of aspect of it, I really enjoyed the music, the cinematography, obviously, and the acting as well. But the music I really loved, because I love how they played on the whole Cold War satellite state kind of aspect of Poland, where they had different styles of music, during the Stalin era in Poland, and then, they'd go over to, kind of the other side of Berlin, and, would you'd see the kind of American jazz and sock hop kind of music kind of just pop up, and it's it's really cool seeing all those eras.
Yeah.
In their career as well, because the main characters, one of them is two of them both are involved in music.
Yeah.
One of them's a singer and the other one's a pianist / kind of conductor. Yeah. So it's I like the movie. I'd say it's a solid 7.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I'll definitely get it when it comes out.
Sure. Yeah.
But
I will say that I really like the ending. I think it has a good ending.
Yeah, I love the ending too. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, You want to talk about what we're here to talk about today? The main topic.
We're talking about what we're talking about.
What are we talking about?
Well, the overall topic. This was your selection, since I guess last week was my choice.
Mm-hmm.
You took your turn this time. To discuss the filmography of one very important human being that most of us know and love very much, and that is known as
Mama Hawka! All right, there's
so Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, Mama Hawka.
He's a good guy. We like him.
We like him a lot.
We wanted to kind of dive into sort of the timeline.
Yeah.
Of his career. Just kind of
see where he started and kind of like all the things he's kind of got up to all the way to First Reformed. And all
the directions that his career has kind of gone in. I will say, though, I was a bad boy.
Uh-oh.
I mean, saying that, it could lead to all sorts of things, but I just want to say that I was not able to prepare for this episode as much as I would have liked to.
Yeah, I had a similar path, even though I did watch 2 things new last week.
Yeah.
To get ready for it.
I had a pretty solid little list of things that I wanted to watch, and I was unable to watch any of them. Yay.
Boo. Guess what? That's Joey messing up on that.
That's what it sounds like whenever I make a mistake, or when I have some sort of shortcoming.
Well, just keep that in mind, podcast listeners.
Did you just say popcast?
Popcast listeners. Okay, I said podcast listeners. Stop.
Pop, pop, pop.
Bop, do the top. Anyway, so let's at least start with a movie that we know, kind of near the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
Since we're just gonna start from the beginning to the end. His first movie was Explorers, which I have never seen.
It's about kids in space, am I right?
Is it? I don't.
I asked you.
I don't know what it's about.
You gotta. When someone asks you a question, you gotta answer that question.
I don't know what Explorers is about. Kids in space. Am I right? I don't know.
I believe I'm right, but.
Well, for some reason, the page isn't loading, so no fucking idea.
Oh, no.
Explorers is it's about kids going to space camp.
Oh, space camp.
And River Phoenix that's the first thing he did with River Phoenix.
Oh, it's a Joe Dante. Interesting.
Outer Space Adventures of a Lifetime.
Yeah, I know that's one that
I've heard it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that they grew up with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like, one of those 80s childhood.
Yeah, like kind of run along the lines
classics.
of like Adventures of Babysitting E.T.
Sure,
things like that. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll watch it for sure. I definitely want to see that movie. But I guess we can go from there to the movie in 1989 that kind of put him on the map.
Yeah, this is his big break for sure.
And that's Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams, and really great.
I have not seen it.
Carpe diem.
Oh, no.
That happens in the movie. Well, apparently Joey hasn't seen it, so I can't really talk too much about it.
I mean, you can if you want.
It's a pretty good movie. He plays Todd Anderson. He is a pretty major character in the movie, but it's more or less just about Robin Williams as an English teacher in a prep school, and he's trying to be as liberal as possible because it's a pretty conservative school. When I say liberal, I mean in the sense that humanities, music, art, trying to show that these kids you don't have to just be studying for a test.
Tries to give them some freedoms.
Yeah, you don't have to be studying for this science test, this math test. You don't have to be. Yes, we're at this really prestigious school, but at the same time, we want you to especially his character wants them to kind of explore life and live it.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's where his character comes in. He's trying to be as inspirational as possible to these kids, and these kids are going through a plethora of different emotions from either their parents or other school teachers or faculty, and it's a really good like kind of coming of age movie.
So it's like School of Rock, but more
serious,
prestige,
like. School of Rock.
I know that makes me sound like an idiot, but
but it's directed by Peter Weir, who I like him.
I do too.
And so, but I really like this movie. It's definitely one of the. I think it was my favorite movie from 1989, actually, when I created my 100 Years of Movies list. But it's definitely a movie that like is emotional and is definitely one of the ones that like you'll see most people say it's an emotional movie. It's pretty widely regarded as a really good movie.
Yeah. And
I agree with most people, but
is Mama the one that says, "Oh, Captain, my Captain"?
Mama Hawka.
Yeah. It's weird to refer to him as a mama when he's just a little boy.
He's a little boy in this movie.
God damn it.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll get to Mama Hawka later. I think moving on from there, did you ever watch White Fang?
I don't think so.
Well, I remember. Okay, I can briefly talk about it at least. Do you remember like the Jack? What are those fucking books called? Like
Jack.
No, it's the book. It's like the Hatchet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the dude's name, but
those books that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s,
so like
when we had to read
survival fiction for kids.
That's what White Fang reminds me of. It's just like this survival movie. I think it's about like a husky or a dog or some sort, a wolf,
some kind of
animal, some kind of canine of some sort. But he plays Jack in this movie. Now I gotta fucking figure it out. Jack. It's based on it's a wolf. He's a wolf. Oh. I think it's a Disney movie too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's based on in the Yukon Territory in 1897. Story of a young man and a wolf. I like that movie info.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's quite a bit. So I guess we can just move on to some things we actually might know. Where do you want to talk next? Have you seen any things in there?
I have not.
I can talk about Reality Bites.
Yeah, let's talk about Reality Bites.
All right, so I just watched this week. Reality Bites came out in 1993. It was directed by Ben Stiller and starring him as well.
Yeah.
And also one other writer, obviously our boy Mama Hawka, who's also a boy in this movie.
God damn it!
I know. Yeah, we're doing that. Well, Reality Bites.
Have
you seen it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Bites? You've seen bites of it?
Bites and pieces of it.
It's a pretty decent film. It's definitely an angsty film. Like it's.
Does it have like a lot of? Is the soundtrack got a lot of like?
It's
sort of grungy stuff.
It's like that mixed with like Empire Records and like just that kind of feel.
I've seen Empire Records.
It's It's not the greatest movie. It's got like a 66% on Rotten or whatever. I would say that's probably accurate. He plays a character who like more or less is like the stereotypical like philosopher kid who like hates.
It's like a scum bum.
Yeah, he's like I'm into Nietzsche and I want to make fun of society and like why are you the man? Like and Ben Stiller is the man dating One-Eye Rider, but he also is interested in One-Eye Rider. So like it's this weird love triangle and they're just trying to figure out life. More or less, and it's one of those kind of younger movies that they play.
Sure.
Reality Bites. It's a fine movie. You don't have to see it, but
it sounds like a role that is good for him to play at that time.
Yeah, it's kind of that, and that's the early '90s, and like that is definitely like a trope from the early '90s.
Yeah. From the sound of it, it sounds like it could be charming because I have a soft spot for that time. I like 90s things.
It's a little on PC too and a little uncouth.
Ooh.
So I enjoy it, but you want to talk about one of his best movies of all time now?
we oughta.
We're just gonna
actually we should just go ahead and say that they ended up making a White Fang sequel called Myth of the White Wolf.
He's uncredited. Jack's uncredited.
Hey, I didn't know there was a sequel to that. I just wanted to make sure that we were the informative program that we are.
It's true. We want people to know what's going on. But
Okay.
we're actually going to start in his first of a trilogy.
Yeah.
that is pretty fucking legendary, at least in my eyes.
This was the movie that I saw him in that made me really like him a lot as an actor.
And that's Before Sunrise in 1995. Richard Linklater.
Richie Linklater.
Richie plays Jesse.
This was pretty early on in Richard Linklater's career too.
Yeah,
as I can imagine.
Right after Dazed and Confused-ish.
Yeah,
time period.
I think it was like,
and Slacker.
Yeah, it was like Slacker, Dazed and Confused, and then that.
This, yeah.
Which, don't quote me on that. It could be kind of wrong.
I think Dazed and Confused might be 1997 or something. So this might be a little bit before.
Okay, yeah.
But right around that time.
Sure, yeah.
So. But yeah, this movie is the start of something that honestly I don't think anyone at the time knew was going to be something else, and so that's really cool.
Yeah, that's great. It's a really unique concept. It kind of goes to show how Richard Linklater would continue to do more with time and like, the idea of time with his films. He
structured this in a way that would be really big, where he played, and also probably during this exact time he was filming another movie that secretly that he wasn't, obviously we'll get to later, but you know that's really cool that he had thought this process out so long
without without even knowing, you know, that Before Sunrise would give way to, you know, two other films later on. It's striking because it's very much a romance movie. Yeah. But it always feels like, it feels so real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Usually films like that always kind of have this sense of like
romanticism.
Heightened reality.
Yeah, dramatized,
weird,
Hollywoodized.
Like crazy circumstances that sort of make everything feel artificial. But nothing about Before Sunrise feels that way at all. It just...
Super humbling movie.
You just feel like you're in for the ride with these two characters, and you see them fall in love, and you fall in love with them too. Yeah.
It's just a happenstance too. They just randomly ran into each other on a train.
Yeah, it's a film
in Europe.
It's a film that just captures that feeling of like excitement of meeting somebody and like getting close to them.
Yeah. And this is one of those movies that like obviously. It just feels so refreshing to watch because I've watched this with a significant other at one point in time, and honestly we're not together anymore or anything like that, but like we have talked about these movies before and how great they are. Yeah. But like Before Sunrise is just that nice beginning. Yeah. And it's really really great. The dialogue, like you said, is just so like realistic, and it just feels like, you know, those long shots of Linklater just holding the camera as they're just walking towards the camera or just towards something else, where they're just like going to a different location to do something else. They're just going around the city. Yeah. One night.
Yeah. You feel as though you're just living in the moment along with them.
Yeah. It's really refreshing.
Yeah. Movies like Cloud 9.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to go to a couple years later to one of the coolest sci-fi movies that I've actually seen. Kind of predates The Matrix. Yeah. Gattaca. 1997.
Gattaca.
Did you ever see this?
So, I kind of have. I watched it in my high school biology class.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the only time that I've seen it, and I kind of remember it a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. It's a pretty cool concept. But it's one of the earlier kind of sci-fi movies where he plays this character who, along with I can't remember his name.
Jude Law.
With Jude Law alongside his future wife. I think he became a wife with Uma Thurman from this, and then they obviously have split since. Mm-hmm. But that's where they met, I believe. And this is just a really interesting and pretty intelligent kind of sci-fi movie. That just kind of explores, those ethical dilemmas that you always kind of see in these types of situations. Yeah, and he's playing Jude Law in this academy, where Ethan Hawke is not allowed at all, but he's more or less taken on this persona of this guy who is in a higher class. So it's a lot about class relations as well. This movie, and. You know, he's playing Jude Law's character, who is brilliant, and like really intelligent, but he has got a lot of physical deformities and things that he can't be there or anything. So he just takes on his position and is trying not to get caught.
Yeah, it deals a lot with like genetics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that explains why I watched in biology
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
Sort of. Maybe my teacher just didn't want to do anything for a week.
That's usually how it is.
That's the case.
Generally, that's what movie nights... Actually, speaking of movie nights, I know, totally unrelated, but I remember in high school, I was the only sophomore in this class of all seniors, and like in our school, seniors like left like kind of like a month early, like kind of out of school, and like we're done with everything.
Yeah.
And so for this class, it was just me and my this coach, and this coach was like, honestly, since you're the only one in here, we're just gonna watch movies. And I'm like, sweet, hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. So we watched Gladiator, we watched Braveheart, we watched The Patriot.
Troy.
Wait, the Troy wasn't out? Well, I think it was out by that point. Yeah, it definitely was. 2004 or 5.
Gladiator movies.
Dude, it's fucking sweet. Like, I had a good time. But anyway, yes, back to Gattaca, a good movie, directed by Andrew Niccol, who I recognize that name.
I think he did The Truman Show.
Oh, yeah, he definitely did. That's his highest growing one.
He also did The Hoist.
Oof. Not the good one from South Korea.
Oh yeah, he did the Oopsie Daisy one.
Well, that's a screenwriter. What's the Oopsie Daisy ones?
Oh wait, no. He had to have directed that too, right?
What?
The Host?
He just screenwrote it. I don't think he's directed anything since A Nun.
Click on it.
We're clicking on The Host.
I swore he directed it too.
It looks like the director... Yep,
he did, okay.
It is.
He wrote
that's
and
weird.
directed it.
Yipes.
Wow. His passion project.
Passion project that got shot down. Anyway, that's enough about Gattaca. Let's move on from 1997 to... What, do you want to stop anywhere? Waking Life, at least? Even though I haven't seen it. I really want to see it.
Great Expectations. Is that... I believe that's the Corone one.
Right, click it. Ugh. It's with Robert De Niro.
Whoa. Yeah, Alfonso Cuarón.
Okay, so right after he did Gattaca, in 1998 he did Great Expectations, which the critics hated and the audiences like.
Huh.
I think it's a modern interpretation of Great Expectations,
Which
the
is
Charles
interesting.
Dickens book.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I wanted to watch, but I didn't.
Well, I got to tell you, I fucking hate this book. Going back to high school, ironically enough, I was forced to read this Charles Dickens book, and I'm not a fan of Charles Dickens. I've read at least 2 or 3 of his books. Tale of Two Cities, this one, obviously the Christmas Carol one, or whatever that one was.
A Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol. But Great Expectations was absolutely something I just did not like.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Air horn.
Yeah, that's
Coming soon.
Coming soon to a podcast near you. So
He also played Hamlet at some point, so he's getting
in 2000,
getting a little literary.
Well, he already did that one in Dead Poet Society and in Reality Bites.
Oh yeah.
But you want to jump to another Linklater film that we both need to see?
Yeah.
He did Waking Life in 2001.
Raking Rife.
Which has got a crazy animation to it.
Yeah.
I've heard and I've seen images from.
Isn't Alex Jones in this movie too?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, there's a lot of people. And this is before Alex Jones was like really unhinged.
Yeah.
So like Alex Jones was friends with a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
back in 2000 and 2001.
Terrifying.
Terrifying. He's a man. He's crazy. That's how he talks. I can only do that because I'm a Jones as well.
Oh.
Must be my uncle or something.
It's your little brother.
Now you sound like Macho Man Randy Savage.
It's your little brother.
It's your little brother, man. Snapping to Slim Jim.
Have you heard the conspiracy that... I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but that Alex Jones is just an alter ego of comedian Bill Hicks?
No.
Because they look exactly alike?
What? Okay, now we're gonna have to do a side Nick.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to look at this one here.
Side Nick.
Side Nick. He does look a little. He does look like Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
I think it is Alex Jones.
Come on now.
Holy holy shit. There's yeah. Okay, that's a little. That's unsettling.
Yeah. That if that is the case, that would be an incredible bit.
And we were fooled the whole time.
I know. I just want on his deathbed. I just want him to be like.
Guess what?
It was all a lie.
It was all a lie. I'm Bill Hicks. Night, everybody. But good night, reptiles.
Okay.
So let's actually move on from there, I guess, to the biggest, like probably one of the biggest movies he was in, with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, this was another one that kind of took his career to a new level, I guess.
In Training Day.
Training Day.
Where he plays a sidekick of Denzel, and he is a new recruit on this police force, and Denzel's more or less just showing him the way around the neighborhood and
showing him the ropes,
kind of into some shady ways.
Yeah, doing some no good deeds.
Denzel's kind of bad.
You think he's bad?
I think so.
Oh, you mean like a bad guy?
He's a bad guy.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's not. No, of course not. Denzel's amazing in this movie.
Interesting.
The
contrarian over here.
That's me. But this movie's good.
Every time you use your whistle, you have to give me a title for that song.
What song?
You have to. Each time you use the whistle, it's a song, and you have to give it a title.
I call this one Training Day 2, Denzel's career.
Well, maybe you don't have to do that.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what he's getting at.
That's all right.
We'll figure it out after the podcast.
Yeah, we're working on it. It's in the works, everyone. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So you have anything to say about Training Day?
Please don't stop listening to.
Please stop listening.
This is all we have.
This is how we're making money. Please send
wish.
us. So we have a Patreon now.
Oh yeah, it's up there. It's totally the only reason we ever started this was just so that we can trick you people into giving us money.
Give us some money. Give us your money, you reptilian overlords.
You'll get a bonus episode of us screaming into the microphone for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's if you hit the highest mark of $200, then we'll
$200 patron.
We'll send you a 2-minute video
of
us
something.
doing screams, just random shit, and one of them has to have. Well, yeah, it's gonna start off with a sly whistle, of course.
I'll send you my copy of It's Complicated that I ordered when I was drunk a few nights ago.
He's got quite a few really great drunk purchases.
Don't say that. My mom listens to this.
They're all movies. they're all great movies. I forgot. Oh no.
Oh.
So Training Day.
Sorry, Matt.
Training Day. Do you have anything to say about it? Terry Crews is in this movie. Freaking love it.
I forgot about that. It's one I haven't seen in a long time, but I remember being super into it when I did watch it because it's like Ethan Hawke, this gentle boy from Before Sunrise that I liked, and then all of a sudden in this he's like playing a tough guy.
Just so different for him.
Yeah, and that kind of begins like sort of an ongoing thing that he has with working with Antoine Fuqua, which is really interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody who like kind of chooses a director and like sticks with them a little bit.
He's probably a guy that's like super easy to get along with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every single time I've seen him do an interview, he seems like the most down to earth person.
For sure.
I guess we can move on to the next in the trilogy. Is that the next thing to talk about?
Unless you want to talk about Taking Lives.
I don't know anything about that.
That's okay. Let's go.
Do you know anything about Taking Lives?
Not really.
Hey, listen. He's actually not talking about a movie. He's actually talking about taking lives.
Oh, yeah. That's something I've done plenty of times.
Sorry, Joey's mom. He had to
My
hear
grandma too.
Oh no. We're gonna segue here to Before Sunset. That's the segue song. Yeah, see?
Oh, here we go.
Segue song.
I like that one.
Is that better?
That's my, yeah.
Okay. So Before Sunset. This time it is the second part of Linklater's trilogy. It's 9 years later.
It's the bridge.
It's the bridge one. It's actually my favorite of the three.
Yeah.
And it's like the briefest one too. It's really short. I want to say it's like 70-something minutes.
It's probably the most complex one.
Oh,
too.
absolutely. It can be.
It deals a lot with ambiguity.
Yeah, and
is,
unknown.
Yeah.
Just that. It's 81 minutes, so it's really short.
Yeah.
But it's literally it picks up 9 years after the movie, like in real life and in real time for this movie as well. Mm-hmm. Which we talked about a little bit with the time thing.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that it's just something that is really compelling because, like, how do you pick up something that, like, was like so young and like, so ambitious at the beginning, and like, how do you juggle that with the lives you have now? Because they have like relationships, outside of them seeing each other. Yeah,
it's just kind of them just sort of figuring out if they really want to just kind of uproot everything that they've already kind of planted elsewhere and just to be together because of how they're brought together in this, sort of spontaneous way again.
Yeah, it's a fantastic middle piece of a movie, and actually it's my favorite probably of the three, and I really love the poster for it.
Yeah.
I'm planning on, whenever I get the chance to, I think my next three posters will be these three, and I'll put them all on a wall. So, but this one's my favorite poster and my favorite movie of the three. Ooh. So, anything else to say about Before Sunset?
I don't believe so.
What do you want to talk about next?
He was in the remake of Assault on Precinct 13.
Which I heard is... I haven't seen either version. I really want to see the first one.
Yeah, I love the John Carpenter one.
I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
But the one he remade is in 2005.
It's him and Larry Fishburne.
Yeah, Larry Fishburne. Old Lawrence. Old Neo. Old Sam Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. Hey, if any of you listeners remember the time that Sam Jackson
he was on
got
the
called
news.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, man.
And the guy's all like, "Hey, I liked you in that Super Bowl commercial." He's like,
"What Super Bowl?
What Super Bowl commercial?"
Dude, he's the wrong person to piss off.
Don't fuck with Sam Jackson.
With someone else.
I bet Lawrence Fishburne's not someone to fuck with either.
Absolutely not. Just don't fuck with anyone. Yeah,
that's the thing at the end of the day. Just don't fuck with anybody, especially these two men.
Yeah.
Especially those two men. But yeah, did you see this one?
I haven't seen this remake.
But it's got not so great high marks.
Yeah, I think this is kind of another sort of... I think him and being in Training Day sort of led to him getting cast in this.
That makes complete sense. Yeah. So it's another...
it's really kind of insane that he sort of had like this sort of action career.
Side to him. Yeah, he's like you had the before side of him.
It's completely unexpected. It's really interesting.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we'll get to this in a little bit with some of his horror movies he's done.
Yeah,
but like
that's a later thing that
it's like he just seems like a really flexible guy.
Yeah,
and like he can. You wouldn't expect it, but like then when you would watch it, you'd be like, well, that actually kind of makes sense. Like, and actually, he does good in all these roles. I think that's just something he does. Anything else to say about that one?
I don't believe so.
What's the next one you want to talk about? I'm jumping up a little bit. But
don't get me started on. Oh, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Have you seen that one?
I have not. It looks good.
Sidney Lumet.
Oh,
picture.
Wow.
With
he's still alive then?
Yeah, I think this is his last one. With Philip Seymour Hoffman, Marissa Tomei, and Albert Finney, who
I love that cover.
Recently passed away. It's an incredible cast. It's a really, really, really great thriller. obviously it's well acted by everybody. It's just a really, really great crime drama that's also this really dark family study.
Which is something that Sidney Lumet is like really brilliant with.
Right.
Like character dynamics are what he specialized in.
Yeah. It's got a really incredible plot. I don't know if I want to get too far into it.
Good.
Basically,
I want to watch it.
Yeah. But basically it's about these brothers, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Ethan Hawke, that sort of stage this robbery at a jewelry store, and things just kind of go incredibly wrong. And there's some kind of double crosses. You kind of learn more about each of these two guys and what their relationship is actually like. And yeah, it's a really underrated, under-discussed film. It's one that I've seen a couple times, but I definitely want to revisit again soon, because it's one that easily falls, out of
The realm of what you think Ethan Hawke would be doing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also, just one that doesn't really get talked about enough. It's easy to just kind of forget about. So,
yeah, I mean, I haven't really heard of the movie until now. So, I mean, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know that was the last Sidney Lumet movie.
Yeah.
So
it may not be the absolute last
sure,
one,
but it's one of the last ones, because he's got to be really old at this point. He's dead now, obviously, but R.I.P. I guess the next one you want to talk about is Daybreakers?
Oh, fuck. Do I want to talk about Daybreakers?
He's not joking, folks. He's not joking.
He is... Ethan Hawke is the Daybreaker himself.
He's the Daybreaker himself. In 2010, he's this vampire guy.
Yeah, dude. This movie is about everyone in the world becomes vampires.
Everybody.
Everyone.
Except for, like, a couple people.
Yeah, except for, like, little, like, underground groups who are, like, living in the sewers trying to survive.
The year is 2017, that was 2 years ago.
Oh, fuck.
It's a little not futuristic enough.
Yeah.
But,
I'm disappointed that didn't happen.
But this got a pretty funny cast with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is in there.
And Sam
Neill. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. When's the last time you saw Sam Neill before this? Jurassic Park 3?
I don't know. That's a good question, honestly.
I think he just disappeared for a little bit.
He does that. He's just hanging out with his pigs. That's all.
In New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading this movie and being like, this movie was alright. It's definitely like just a really stylistic movie.
Yeah, it's fun. I think it's
fun.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while either, but I remember it being pretty rad. And looking back on it now, it definitely seems like it's my kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm a huge Willem Dafoe guy. And just seeing him and Ethan Hawke in just like this big, dumb vampire movie, it just sounds like a dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get this.
Yeah, we need to get it. We need to inject it into our veins.
And become vampires.
Yeah.
And break the day. Anyway.
There's literally, like, instead of there, like, it takes place in a big city, and instead of there being, like, like hot dog vendors on the side of the street, is fucking dudes selling bags of blood. It's incredible, dude.
They have, like, blood restaurants.
Yeah.
They have, like, they got, like, hamburger buns, but the blood's in the middle.
Not even joking.
Oh, my God. Well, time to revisit that one.
Absolutely.
You want to go on to another horror movie he did a little bit after that?
Well, I want to go ahead and briefly mention The Woman in the Fifth.
Okay.
Which is topical because it was directed by Pavel Pavlovsky.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Yeah, I believe it was his English language debut, if I'm not mistaken. Which, yeah, he was in that. It was this really small movie that I never heard about until like a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's got high marks.
Yeah, it wasn't really favorable. It's him and Kristen Scott Thomas.
Well, I mean, if the critics say it's okay, so I would say it's probably okay, middle. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I'll watch it someday because I like that director.
Yeah, I'm intrigued for sure.
I'm interested. But you want to talk about something scary after this?
Oh,
I remember seeing this in theaters.
I saw this in theaters too.
I actually liked this movie.
I do too.
Until the very end.
Oh.
So this is Sinister, what we're talking about in 2012. I actually thought this was a pretty creative horror movie.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
It's a solid horror movie about Bagul, who is this like this demon.
That's what I'm gonna name my first child. Also,
You heard it here, folks. You hold that to him. If you're Joey's family or anybody else listening, Bagul is his child's name.
Firstborn.
Bagul. But Ethan Hawke plays this like kind of tortured writer who is like a true crime kind of writer, and he like kind of goes to places where there's an actual true crime that happened, and then writes like a fictionalized story of it.
Yeah.
And like is like been really famous. He had really one of his books was really big that he wrote. I honestly feel like this is a little homage to Stephen King in a way.
Sure.
And a kind of a slight nod. But anyway, he moves into this house where there's this family that like all hung themselves in the backyard, and like that's actually how the movie starts off.
Yeah,
like
the
a
opening
Super 8.
shot.
It's like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
At the same time, like when I say awesome, I mean like that. Not the right word.
People dying.
It's cool. No, it's like it's just really weird. So like, yeah, it's just really unsettling, and that's the right word. So, but yeah, it just plays on that, and it's just really interesting. Him kind of finds these Super 8s.
Yeah, he finds all of these little videotapes
up in the attic.
Yeah,
of these families who used to live in that house.
Yeah, and each one is just like this really kind of grisly, brutal murder.
Like snuff tapes.
Yeah.
They're all like something happens.
Yeah.
One of the family members somehow like usually kills the other ones.
Yeah,
it's in some kind of capacity.
Yeah, and it's really thrilling to watch because you
don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen in these little films that he finds.
But I won't get into it why I don't like the ending as much. But
sure, yeah.
It's a little too easy. I kind of wish there was a little bit more ambiguity. To the ending. Where because like you know like we were just saying. That's the whole reason I like the movie is because it was really, unambiguous, and so you don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like that mystery, and I don't like things explained to me as much, and that's kind of what they were doing. They explained it near the end.
Sure.
But
when I saw that in theaters, I saw this guy walk in with like his young daughters, and so I was like, well, they shouldn't be here.
Well, they definitely shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on from Sinister, the scary movie, we'll go to the last of the Linklater trilogies.
Scary in a different way.
It's yes. In a 9 years after Before Sunset, we see that they ended up seeing each other again.
Ended.
Yeah. But anyway, this is literally like once again just like last time. It's 9 years directly in real life, and also in their time with each other.
Yeah, because Before Sunset was 2004.
Yes, and this is 2013, so it's literally 9 years apart. So.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
But it's just a continuation of this Linklater trilogy, and this one is just it's dealing with a different theme, and that theme is honestly something that I feel like a lot of couples and probably marriages deal with, and I mean obviously I don't really know myself, but it's definitely something that I foresee happening in my own future.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, obviously not to this extent, but, like, Joey's just imagined it for me. It could possibly happen. It's just, all it is, something that a lot of people need to explore a little bit more often.
Yeah, this movie is about when you're in the shit with someone.
Exactly.
This one, you're married to somebody for a long time. You have a life started with this person, and it's like, and the two of you are getting older, and it's like your own lives come into perspective, and then it's sort of the way that your partnership has kind of grown, or maybe
evolved.
Yeah, or maybe gone downhill a little.
Yeah.
Basically, Jesse and Celine in this film are just dealing with all of the
repercussions of their decisions. Yeah,
the bad feelings that they might be getting at this stage, not just in a relationship, but in life in general. And it's about them dealing with it together and trying to work through it.
Yeah.
However difficult and tumultuous it may be.
Yeah, and there's definitely peaks and valleys in this one. You know, there's really good, really nice moments of this, but you know, overall the theme is struggle. Yeah. And but you know, I love the way this trilogy ends because it ends just like every other one of them.
Yeah.
Where you don't really know what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
And who knows? We actually might see something in 2022 from Linklater and Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy.
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be interesting.
It's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2019 now, and I mean, there's only 3 more years left, so...
Yeah, and this one's probably my favorite in the trilogy, if I had to choose one. Yeah. Yeah,
it's definitely... I mean, all these movies have an element of realism to it. That, what makes this trilogy really special. Yeah. And honestly, obviously we haven't got to some of his other works that Ethan Hawke has done, but I honestly want to say these are probably my favorite movies that Ethan Hawke's done.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think they are the closest to being windows into him as a human being.
Absolutely.
And they're the ones where he just feels the most vulnerable, and where I think he's doing the most, besides one other film that we've already talked to on the show before previously.
We'll get to,
yeah.
Well, we can move on from those awesome things to a terrible thing that started off okay.
Terrible is a little bit of a stretch.
Well, it's turned into terrible, if that makes sense. Okay. At least in my eyes.
Sure.
But the first one is not as bad. I actually like the first one all right. And that's The Purge. And
Le Purge.
The Purge. It came out in the same year, 2013. This movie was a pretty big deal when it came out. I remember.
Yeah. Everybody... I remember seeing the trailer for this when I saw Evil Dead at the midnight screening of that. And that was one of the craziest theater-going experiences I've ever had, for sure. And how just that crowd, for whatever reason, was just super into everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And it was actually a lot of fun. It's really rare when it's like that. Normally,
absolutely.
Normally, I just want to go to a movie and not be aware. No,
sure.
I want to have zero awareness of anyone else in there.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
But with that film in particular, that entire experience, it was just we were all sort of together in this weird way.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the trailer for this before that, and people were super into it because of the premise. It totally just maps out, what if one day per year in America all crime was legal?
Yeah.
And everybody's just huh?
Huh? What does that mean?
Yeah. I think it's just such a far-fetched premise that it just was something
let's see what happens.
Yeah, people were talking about it, and it gained some traction, and it became a pretty big hit. And of course, it spawned some sequels.
Yeah.
But the fact that Ethan Hawke was in there kind of added some levity to it.
Yeah, I liked his character a lot in that movie.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, I like everything he's done, mostly. But yeah, I think this movie was definitely a phenomena. And honestly, it's kind of continued to today in a weird way. Obviously, you can have a lot of, similarities to the culture now.
Yeah, especially the most recent one, the first Purge.
Sure,
which came out last year.
Yeah, I haven't seen it past the second or third one. I think
I've only seen this one and then the
most
recent one.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I might have to check those out sometime.
Yeah,
but-
I'm curious about seeing the middle two.
Well, we can move on to a worse film that you want
We
to talk
haven't
about,
seen.
which we want to see.
But I do want to see it.
It came out the same year again.
Everyone talks about how horrible it is. It's got a 2%.
It's got It's got a 2% from critics. It's got a 35% from audience.
Okay, so
Oh man, she looks like a fucking child. Well, she is a child in this movie, I suppose.
it's got Mama.
It's got Mama Hawka and Selena Gomez as the kid.
We're talking about Getaway, of course.
The movie Getaway.
So, first thing I want to hit on here is that Ethan Hawke's character in this movie's name is Brent Magna.
Brent Magna. And the kid.
And John Voight as the voice.
And Paul Freeman as the man.
Oh.
Starring Bruce Payne as Distinguished Man.
Bruce Payne, I like that.
And then obviously Rebecca Budwig as Leanne. I like how she's got a regular name.
It's the players of Getaway.
We're going to have to watch this movie someday.
Yeah.
With some alcohol.
For sure. I don't know. I guess this was just kind of I think maybe... I have a feeling that he just wanted to do something fun with cars.
Sure, probably. I mean, look at the other... I mean, you got a really serious movie.
Yeah. He's done... maybe he just wanted to lighten things up. And after, doing some pretty heavy things with Before Midnight and having to deal with all of that sort of emotional weight.
Yeah.
So maybe that was kind of this point where he's doing, The Purge and Getaway back to back. Maybe this was just a way for him to lighten up a little bit. And as bad as this movie has, been received, I've heard that there's one particular shot, just one shot in the movie that is incredible. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
Is that there's this one shot that's a stunt that's extremely well done, and I don't know what it is.
Well, we're gonna have to watch it.
I gotta find out. Yeah.
This boy's gonna get it on Blu-ray, and we're gonna watch it one night.
Brent Magna
and the kid in Getaway.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Let's transition.
I don't know what that voice was.
I don't know what that was.
It's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Get off my lawn. We're transitioning back to Linklater, actually, to probably his most well-known film.
Yeah.
Besides Dazed and Confused, probably.
Yeah, probably.
And it won him the Oscar that year, I believe. Didn't it? I want to say.
I think Iñárritu won for.
Hold on. I gotta figure this out. It won Best Supporting Actress for Patricia Arquette, and that's it. But it was a nominee. This, of course, we're talking about Boyhood.
It should have won.
It should have won. For just, we were talking a little bit about time, obviously, with Richard Linklater, especially in the Before trilogy. This movie was how long in the making?
12 years.
12 years in the making. So, he got this idea probably, right before he came out with Before Sunset, I guess, and they started doing that.
Yeah.
And so that's really just impressive that he kept it under the wraps for so long.
I know.
That he filmed the life of this kid, this actual boy growing up, and sticking with it and sticking to it. Obviously a fictional script, but at the same time, playing with that element of time is just unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's ever really done something like this.
No.
And that alone is just an insane concept.
Yeah. And I mean, because of that whole concept, I think it kind of gave people sort of some people, universally it's an acclaimed film.
Sure.
But some people kind of see that as just a sort of a gimmick or a crutch that the movie has.
Sure.
But I disagree with that.
I also disagree with that.
I think beyond that, it has its own merits. From, just the acting, the performances, and the sort of the small, intimate epic that it is. I think what Linklater sets out to do is like completely singular, not just in the concept of it, but the fact that he's making just life or just growing up into like this big, expansive story.
And I think that's that element of, like people who give this movie criticism as like possibly a gimmick or some of the acting is not the greatest, because obviously like Eller Coltrane gets a little worse as he grows up. Probably that's what I'd argue. But the thing is though, I've been thinking a little bit about this just in real life. But like once you look back at your work, even if it's whatever it is, like obviously I was thinking in the context of my own like written work that I've done in school. We are different people at different times in our life, and we have completely different thoughts that we did, just 5 or 6 years ago, and that is something that's really unique to this singular vision you're talking about. That I think is this whole thing's a journey, like, and that's the whole point of this movie, and I think that's
and
what
it feels like one too when you're watching it.
Yeah, and I think it's brilliantly put together. And I accept all its flaws as this great, kind of just test of time. And it's just this little thing, and no one's really done it before. And now, obviously, since the door is open, people are probably doing something like this, or probably, people are going to try to do it, but which is fine. But I just think it's really, really cool.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
Ethan Hawke. Him and Linklater, that's like the best pairing you can get.
Yeah.
As just like, you can just feel like such a connection between the two of them, just from seeing how Ethan performs in Linklater's work, especially here as dad, even though he's the mama, he's the dad in this. He just gives that role like so much nuance and more than is required, but he really makes it his own, just like just about anything else that he does.
Well, what do you want to move on to next? You want to move on to that, speaking of Linklater thing? Or do you want to just move on to... Okay. So next actually is another really, really great film that I think Joey hasn't got to yet.
I ain't seen it yet.
He ain't seen it yet. He hasn't seen Predestination. This is another great science fiction film. This is where it's more or less playing with time travel and what we're destined to do, obviously in the name. So there's a lot of really good layers to this movie. I don't want to give anything away because it's just a fantastic kind of just thriller of a movie with a really high concept and a really great execution. And he just plays this bartender, and that's all you really got to know about this movie. It's a really short movie. It's like an hour and like 30 or 40 minutes, but it's a really solid one. Just like Gattaca, along the same kind of lines.
Yeah. It's him dabbling in genre again.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. I'd probably say, because I watched this last week, just like I saw Reality Bites, obviously Predestination being the better of the two. This movie reminded me a little bit like Looper, which I really love Looper. And so I like those like concepts that are a little out there, executed in a way that you wouldn't think, they would go in that direction. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. What do you want to move on to next?
I want to briefly mention that soon after that, in 2015, he made his directorial debut with a documentary called Seymour: An Introduction, which I once again cannot elaborate on too much, for I have not seen it. But
we'll get there. Oh, is it about Seymour Bernstein?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really, really interesting.
Yeah, so it's really cool that he's kind of made that leap into directing. It makes sense. He's got an artist's mind, I would say.
Absolutely.
of course. And taking this and to another film that he made recently into account, I think he enjoys paying tribute to other artists and kind of looking into their craft and them as people.
Yeah, and we'll get to Blaze later.
Yeah.
That looks like something I want to see. Do you want to mention for a second? Spoiler?
We spoiled ourselves already. Well, earlier I was going to make a joke about asking Nate if he'd seen Sinister 2. And, it was just going to be like, of course he hasn't, because it's apparently really bad. But, as I was saying, so apparently Ethan Hawke is also in Sinister 2 as well.
No idea how and what capacity.
I guess he's got a cameo in there.
A cameo. Apparently he's in it. Maybe it's a flashback.
It's interesting. I don't know. I hope it's a cameo. That would be a little bit more exciting. I would think.
I'm trying to look at a funny thing to say about it.
It's okay.
Ooh, I like this one. Sinister 2's crime is not so much the calculating presence of a hot hipster looking to stunt the growth of bewildered housing inhabitants, as it's following the pedestrian path of boo fests with the banal bangs of exhilaration.
Boo fest.
Ooh. Anyway, we're going to move on from Sinister 2 to...
Sorry for spoiling Sinister 2.
Oh no, everybody is lost.
Yeah.
Great treasure. Do you want to talk about anything that you didn't check out?
Yeah, his later period is kind of interesting. He's kind of taken a little bit more of a retreat into some smaller stuff.
Yeah.
At least with him in the lead. Like he played Chet Baker in a biopic about him called Born to be Blue, which he actually sings and performs in.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Which I've seen clips of him doing that, and it's really cool that he did that. I'm sure that's like something that he loved doing. He was also in a romantic comedy called Maggie's Plan, starring,
that's really good too.
Yeah, with him, Greta Gerwig, and Julianne Moore, which that's a really great group right there. He was also in The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, that remake in 2016.
Yeah.
These are all things we just mentioned in 2016.
Played somebody named Goodnight Robichaux.
Goodnight Robichaux. Well, honestly, I have not seen the new one, but I've seen the original.
Oh, I've seen the new one. I didn't really care for it, but...
the original's fine. Both of them are just remakes of Seven Samurai. Yeah. So, I mean, that's literally what it is. So, but just in a more Western context. Sure. But I guess we can move on to Valerian next, probably.
Yeah.
Which you have seen and I haven't.
I've seen Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets.
We got our Frenchman director.
Yeah, Luc Besson.
Yeah, Luc Besson.
I think I heard he did something bad recently.
Oh, again?
I don't know. Everyone's bad these days.
You can't make Leon the Professional anymore.
Oh yeah,
which is the best thing he's done. And then I would say probably Fifth Element and La Femme Nikita.
Yeah, he has a little cameo in Valerian where he plays somebody named Jolly the Pimp. He's a pimp.
He's
and
jolly.
He wears a cowboy hat and.
Beautiful.
Rihanna does a dance there, and it's weird.
And that's all you need to know, I think, about that movie. It's pretty good.
I just had to let everyone know that happens in it. Okay.
Are we moving on to the best movie he's done, probably? Sure. His best performance, I would say.
His breast.
His breast performance. Well, we've already talked about this movie, but from last year, my favorite movie of the year, First Reformed. Mm-hmm. Paul Schrader directed. He plays Taller. Ernst Taller, and he is this struggling priest this New England church that is just a historical museum, more or less, and is just trying to have a crisis of faith, a connection to the environment, a connection to other people, his own addictions. There's so many layers here to this movie, and honestly, I don't want to talk about it enough because we've already talked about it.
It's true.
A million times, but I love this movie.
Yeah, I do too. And it's probably, I don't want to like assume that it is, but is that why you wanted to talk about Ethan Hawke for an episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that, and plus the Before trilogy, more or less, that I've just noticed how, and then I've seen a few things like we've already mentioned in the past, and I'm like, you know what? He's a really solid actor, and I have
he's great. He always has been.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
And like even just from kind of going back and looking at his filmography, it really goes to show that his performance in First Reformed is really something that he has never really attempted to do before. It's completely outside of his wheelhouse, and I think that goes to show just like
how much range this guy has.
Yeah, even more than we had thought, and like his work is proof that he has that, and that he can do all sorts of things. But
yeah, from science fiction to horror to being an action star to
Yeah, but this is the first time that really he's depicted like such pain and like searching for something the way that in this way at least.
Yeah, it's a hard meditation, and I honestly think this movie isn't for everybody, but it's definitely a movie I think everyone should at least experience in some capacity, at least in my eyes, because it's a good test to kind of just give yourself. At least I think so. Do you want to talk about there's another movie that came out this year that you haven't seen that I have, that
I was supposed to.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. But Juliet Naked, he plays Tucker Crowe, who is this 90s alternative rocker who like kind of disappeared.
Wow.
And I mean, this is like kind of just like his wheelhouse of like just one of those movies where he's just playing a love interest and just having a good time. And it's like it's not too serious of a film, but like it's really fun. But at the same time, it's like it's romantic, and it's kind of the Ethan Hawke that you love. And it's just like I honestly want to think he's like the most comfortable in these types of roles.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a really fun movie, and it's really funny too. Yeah. So I'd recommend seeing it.
I want to see it. I like Rose Byrne a lot too.
Yeah, she's great in it. It's honestly she's the main character in this movie.
Right.
He's just an old, washed up, 90s alternative rocker.
Tucker Cry.
But 2 more movies. I guess one of them that has come out that we haven't seen yet that he directed. Speaking of, I know you were mentioning earlier that he's taking a good look at musicians in their life.
Yeah, different artists of that nature.
And that's Blaze.
Yeah, he made a film about the country folk singer Blaze Foley, which got pretty acclaimed. I remember it played here briefly, but I didn't get a chance to check it out, unfortunately.
I didn't know about that either.
Yeah. But, I think it's really great that he's directing. I'm sure that he's like the perfect kind of actor to become a director as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing like what else he potentially does later on.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is since First Reformed and going through all the Linklater years, and he's kind of like we were talking with Boyhood. There's like this journey with Ethan Hawke that he's the older he gets, like he's being eclectic about everything he's doing and kind of just building on it, and just doesn't know where that path's going, but it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
But the last thing I saw the trailer to this today, actually, because it just came out. But The Kid, it's about Billy the Kid. and it looks like a really fun movie. It looks probably a little bit more along the lines of Ballad of Buster. I almost said the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, but it is a western. But I meant to say the Ballad of Buster Brown. I'm gonna have to cut this part, aren't I?
I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking of, man.
Ballad of... It's not Buster Scruggs. It's an
Pretty
A20.
Tang.
It's an A24 film. I just saw it. Like...
Nerd again.
Lefty Ballad Brown. Of Lefty Brown. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I just ruined that whole bit. But anyway, this is about Billy the Kid. It's Dane DeHaan as Billy the Kid, which looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm pro Dane. Nathan is anti Dane.
This actually looks like a pro Dane for me.
Okay.
Role.
I just mean in general. I'm a pro Dane.
Oh, gotcha. I just feel like he plays the same person. Everything does. This one looks different. That's why it looks interesting to me.
Okay.
But actually, the villain in this movie, do you know about this? It's Chris Pratt.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got a big beard too.
Oh,
but
Jesus.
Ethan Hawke is his Billy the Kid's sidekick, and
Pat Garrett.
Yeah, he's Pat Garrett, and he looks interesting. But look at that beard.
Oh Jesus.
Chris Pratt's beard. But anyway, you can check out that trailer. It's definitely there.
Isn't it directed by Vincent D'Onofrio?
It's directed by Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you have anything else to say?
I want to see. There's one more credit of his that's for a film coming out this year called Adopt a Highway, which I believe I've heard of. I wanted to see.
No, nothing available.
Okay, that's where I know about it.
Oh, it's Logan Marshall Green. Okay.
The directorial debut of Logan Marshall Green, who he was in one of my favorite films from last year, Upgrade.
Yeah. He was great in that movie.
Yeah, which is a film that I love a lot. So it's interesting that they're working together in this sort of way. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what to expect, but I wanted to go ahead and throw that out there.
Yeah. Good things are going to come this year for Ethan Hawke, just like last.
For the Mama
Hawka. Mama Hawka! Well, that's how we end the show. This one's a little...
My roommates are home now, so we can't scream.
We can't scream no more.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I know you're waiting on us to do that. So.
But, well, thank you for...
As soon as we did it the first time, like, I can't wait to hear him do that again.
Well, here's the thing. You know what you can do? You can rewind that button that you have there.
You listen to the whole thing.
You can listen to that timestamp and relive it. Save it as your ringtone.
Yeah.
You know what? Do it whatever you want.
We should publish each of these episodes on cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just so they can hear that one part, they'll have to listen to the whole side and then rewind it.
I'm about it. But we also need to make it somehow where we make it like kind of satanic, where it's backwards and it says some kind of message or something.
And we'll have to find a record, a metal record label that will sign us. If
you didn't know, we like metal.
Yeah.
So, surprise!
We'll never talk about it on this show.
We'll never talk about it again. And word spent. Well, that was a fun episode.
Yeah.
That is Mama Hawka's episode. Ethan Hawke.
This is a great name for. That's a great title for an episode.
Mama Hawka.
Mama Hawka's episode.
I'm gonna put that in the title with Ethan Hawke, obviously, so people will know.
That's good. That's good.
All right. Well, anything else to say?
Next time, we're gonna start our look back on this decade.
Ooh, so we're gonna start with 2010.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing our best of 2010 episode next time.
Ooh,
it's gonna be a lot of fun. I recommend if you wanna, maybe take a look back with us. Yeah. Look back at 2010 yourselves. Find some other films from that year that you like too, so you can kind of be part of the conversation, if you will.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
If you want.
If you want, you can put that, in the comment section or something, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, all right.
All right, so that'll be next time. And,
Mama Hawka for life.
5 ever.
5 ever. All right, this is Nathan signing off.
And this is Joseph. Wow.
Gucci.